Hello YouTube, Autozarek here, and welcome to the Autozarek podcast. I mean, not the Autozarek podcast, though. That should probably have... Wait, was that recorded yesterday? I think it was. I'm pretty sure I did upload it. Yeah, okay, whatever. This is RL Stream 6, and I can't access this, so let's just try this. Oh, would you look at that? I can't access this. My apologies. I mean, great. We're gonna be just talking about aviation this week. Okay, so let's just start off with just by acknowledging that this is technically true. Airlines are struggling to find enough pilots, and this has two let's just get straight into some of these facts. There are two things worth mentioning. One, there is a positive. Two, there is a negative. The positive is that if you want to be a pilot, the chances are it should be a lot easier because, you know, I mean, okay, bankers are not smart, but they should be probably aware that the airline pilot shortage means that if you can actually get into fucking flight schools or whatever, you know, be like, okay, at the end I'm probably going to end up at an airline or be guaranteed an airline scholarship, because obviously various airlines have cadet programs, whatever. Then it should be fairly easy for you. The bad news is, though, when airlines and aviation tend to expand rapidly, we tend to see a lot of pilot error. Like, because it's like, sometimes not the best pilots can get jobs. So, I originally had 2 extra plane crashes here. And since I don't have access to the thing yet, I might just, and since I'm basically trying to use this by American Faith to essentially try and still record the video, because obviously New York Times are a paywall bunch of... I'm not going to say a word that will get me demonetized, but yeah. So we can look at, I don't know, Continental Airlines Flight 1713 was a DC-9 that crashed on takeoff, basically because the first officer, being not a great pilot, pulled back way too fucking hard, and that combined with a little bit of ice meant that basically the aircraft stalled straight away. These kind of pilots will probably be able to still get places at airlines, even if they're not very good. And also, we can also see that this happens even with, I think, okay, it's been way too long since I watched the episode of Air Crash Investigation about it, but I'm pretty sure the pilots aboard Lapa Flight 3142 were pretty good, but obviously Lapa was expanding at the time, and then, yeah, this ended up happening. Immediately blaming it on fucking airline expansion is not entirely great, but, you know, it's like sometimes these accidents do happen because of expanding airlines, if that makes sense. Anyway, and then I guess we'll so yeah, this is quick facts. Okay, I think all of this is fairly true. Obviously I personally would argue that diversity in the industry doesn't really matter. Again, if you disagree, feel free to explain why. Oh wait, one of the arguments they used was that people just don't have people to look up to which I would bring up the incident of Southwest Airlines flight... Wait. Google... Southwest... I think it's flight 13 something, I think. Yeah, 13A. Okay. This is... The captain of this flight was fairly heroic, and she was a woman. Therefore, you now have a female captain to look up to. And for POC, I mean, any example of heroics in pretty much Africa and Asia would count. Like the Ethiopian Airways 767 that was hijacked, obviously that captain was very heroic. Obviously, there was a Garuda Indonesia 737 that had to make an emergency landing on the on a river. Essentially, wait, was it Garuda Indonesia? Oh, whatever. The point. I sometimes. Oh. Is this tweet really still up? Obviously they then link to United's tweet. I don't actually know if United are an airline that do cadet programs. I know, like, here in Europe, you've got airlines like Vueling, Wizz Air, Ryanair, to an extent, arguably has something similar to a cadet program, though technically it's not quite, it's not quite 0 to first officer on an, I guess in that case it would be a 737, probably 800. Obviously, they have ordered a bunch of Maxes, but that's whatever. Do United Airlines have a? Oh my gosh, what? Okay, there we go. Whatever. Anyway, details on pilot statistics. Around 95% of airline pilots today are male, and almost many are white, according to the Times. Why does this matter? Anyway, currently there is a shortage of pilots, this is true, and some believe that more diversity in hiring could solve the issue, while others believe that the shortage is connected to the overall labour crisis. This latter would technically be correct, so how does more diversity help solve this issue? How does saying to white men, you're white and a male and we need more diversity, therefore you can't be accepted, how does that help with the pilot shortage? Especially when women tend to not want to go into those roles. Again, there are examples. The captain of Flight 1380. Obviously, there probably are others. Actually, I can think of more. Well, not quite heroes, but female pilots. The first officer of the UPS plane crash that crashed short of Birmingham Shuttleworth in fucking Alabama. The first officer on that aircraft was a woman. Man, in a minute I'm just gonna end up start naming air crash investigation episodes like Meltdown over Kathmandu, that what's it called, Trans-Bangalore Air? That first officer was a woman. There are examples. Obviously, there aren't quite like as many heroes. Like, obviously, if you're a white man, you've obviously still, I guess, in kind of defense, you've got Sully and people like, I don't know, Captain Alfred Cianes, or, I don't know, YouTubers like Captain Joe. Hell, there are even women and non-whites that do the YouTube stuff, both in general aviation, which is which is for like your standard props like your Cessna 152s and all that, and for proper aviation. Well, I mean, not proper, but commercial aviation. Anyway, the pilot industry for the industry is real. Most airlines are simply not going to be able to realise their capacity plans because they aren't enough pilots, at least for the next 5+ years. Says Scott Kirby, a chief executive of United Airlines. And how does wanting half of them to be women/POC help with this? Use your fucking brain. Also, hey, have we not learnt from, Lapa Flight 3142 that expanding... Hey, you might have to cancel a few of those A350s. Again, I don't know what the fuck United's ordered, but, maybe you might have to cancel a few 777Xs. Maybe you might have to cancel a few A220s here and there. And, be like, hey, obviously pilot shortage. Airbus and Boeing, well, Airbus at the very least should be understandable. If McDonnell Douglas was still around, they would probably be understandable. Like, how does this help? How does basically denying opportunities to wannabe pilots in the white men class? Also, I just want to point out that the biggest barrier for anyone, no matter their like creed, color, race, ability to outbark dog, gender, whatever, the biggest issue is that pilot training is expensive. Like, you are looking at 10k just for your PPL if you wanted to go down that route where you get one license, build your hours, get your next license, build your hours, get your license, whatever, and then you're done. Technically, because obviously you get your PPL, then you build your hours up, then you get to get your CPL, which is your commercial pilot's license, and then okay. If you're doing it this route, you'll then probably end up with a frozen airline transport pilot license. Oh man, I am really struggling with the voice today. My apologies. I had some quality banter though in that League of Legends stream like about an hour or two ago. My voice is still fucked. Oh, well, it's now starting to feel fucked because of it. Anyway, my apologies. But yeah, it's like... obviously, you could just go straight. If you somehow find a way to convince a bank or whatever to give you 70k, which, Admittedly, it probably will be easier now that there is a pilot shortage for the purposes of aviation thing. Maybe. And then for 70k, you can basically end up with a frozen airline transport. You can go from nothing to a full-on airline transport frozen airline transport pilot license, which is your final license before. And then technically, you then would also need to spend a few hundred getting the type rating, which brings us on to thingy. And then, but obviously, if you get an airline scholarship, you can either end up with that FATPL or you can end up with what's called an MPL, which is multi-crew pilot license, I think. I kind of want to Google it, but I've looked through enough flight schools in my time to be at like 95% confident that it's multi-crew pilot license. Again, different airlines offer different scholarships. I think MPL kind of forces you to be loyal to that airline and makes it difficult for you to just be like, fuck it. So long, I don't know, American Airlines, I'm off to fly for Delta, since I imagine most of the people watching this are probably going to be Yanks. That makes that a little more difficult, but even then, that's making the assumption that United is what they are claiming to be, which is an airline that is investing in the next gen. Then again, American aviation is just very poorly designed. The regionals make zero sense. No offense to American faith and any of the Americans watching this. Thank you very much for, I don't know, actually having, I don't know, a thingy that was published like, what, fucking 20 minutes ago. Anyway, I guess, okay, we kind of went over the comment by Scott Kirby. Anyway, recent years have seen a sharp uptick in racial diversity amongst pilots, so I don't care as long as the pilots are good. Travel Noir claiming in 20 that black pilots are taking over the friendly skies. Lol, what? Wait, is this real? That's a very interesting title, but I don't think I want to... Okay, wait. Is this behind a fucking... The next VP will look like me. Lol. Don't know what the fuck that's meant to mean, but okay. Why are we focusing so much on the race? I don't get it. Anyway, some airlines such as United have launched an initiative to have 50% of their training programs be women or POC. Again, how does that help with the pilot shortage? Like, if you truly believe that there's a pilot shortage, again, you wouldn't be trying to do this. Now, if there was an oversaturation of pilots and you still wanted more diversity, this kind of policy would then make sense. But even then, I would still say it's like we should be hiring based upon their skill. It's like, do we really need repeats of oh wait, I forgot to open up a graph that I was using yesterday. Mansplaining graph. I want to be right back to just see what was coming up when I put man. Those tweets aren't too bad. It's not enough to make people want to restart. Oh wait, look, we're only a quarter of an hour into this, and well, we're almost a quarter of an hour into this, and we're almost done. Anyway, don't worry. Wait, man, they're all so fucking bad quality. I swear, when please, I just want. Wait, open image in new tab. Okay, there we go. Anyway, okay, so we're basically towards the end, and now I'm going to talk about the next part, which is relating. Okay, okay, wait. So we've. I mean, this is technically not possible. We've done the best we can. Okay, fuck's sake. Hey, when does this? Anyway, it's fine. now we get to the, I don't know, juicy part of the video. So, now, this would mean that by pushing for diversity, this means that there's going to be more people of color and women captains. Great. Until you realize other things that they believe in, aka mansplaining. Everything, it's like we're going back to 2015 or whatever. Anyway, so you might have noticed I brought up, well, I am going to bring up these three. I've got 3 case study air crashes, and you can probably, I'm going to quick time pause, and I don't know, if you're someone like Valsh or Xander Hall, feel free to, I don't know, have a guess with the chat what all these have in common. Maybe it might link to this. Anyway, so okay, I should probably point out that this is a Korean Air Cargo. I just couldn't be bothered to write out Korean Air Cargo, but yeah. So let's start off with Korean Air Cargo Flight 8509. The aircraft departs London Stansted in 1999, like 2 weeks before the return of the millennium. On Luco, oh wait, shit. The aircraft was a 747, and basically the captain's HUD malfunctions, and due to Korean customs, well, I guess we could describe it like that. Well, actually, yeah, we can absolutely describe it like that. The first officer is basically believed to have been too afraid to actually point out the captain's error, when it was quite obvious, when it would have been probably quite obvious to him and the flight engineer that the HUD was artificial horizon heads-up display, whatever the fuck it would have been, was not working properly. Anyway, now, guess what I'm going to say it could happen. Let's look at this. Now, imagine it's a woman or a black person. So I guess if it's a non-white / black person, it would be white-splaining. But did the captain, whether a POC man or a woman, POC woman, etc., ask you to explain what's wrong? Probably not, no. If this was to happen today, of course. Does she have more... do you have more relevant experience? Well, you're just the first officer in this situation. The chances are you probably don't. Best case scenario, you're probably equal because she might be a new captain. But even then, it's like she technically has authority over you, so... Oh, look at that. Probably mansplaining. She probably does have more, and depending on seniority at the airline, you could even say she's an expert. Just stop talking now. I guess we have to let the plane crash now, don't we? Now, if it was a male captain and a first officer, we could, yes, by a fair amount, yes, absolutely. Would most men with her experience and already know this? I mean, it depends. If you're a new first officer, you might struggle, so no. Did you ask if she needed it explained? Yes. I mean, I don't know. It's like, a first officer is probably more likely to be like, what the fuck is wrong with this aircraft? So, I guess it's not as bad for male captains. But anyway, so, and then obviously, I guess we should, okay, before anyone says anything, I'm fully aware that I can't spell Tenerife. I just couldn't be asked to spell it properly. I'm pretty sure I even intentionally didn't have it spelled properly yesterday because I attempted to do this with Facecam, and Facecam basically, like, it basically covered up to here, and I was like, okay, I don't really like the extra part of the F kind of, like, just sticking out. So I was like, okay, well, it would have been like that if I'd spelled it properly, I think, but whatever, point still stands. Anyway, let's just, well, actually, no, Tenerife isn't even that relevant because the male first officer on the KLM flight probably was quiet because the captain handed in him his wings. But again, seniority and all that. Same thing would probably apply if, again, with the extra mansplaining / white-splaining that would happen if it was a woman, POC, whatever, a woman or both, or etc., then, you know, it's like, that's probably more likely to happen. And then we get to United 173. The DC-8 that crashed because it ran out of fuel. Now you might be wondering, how is this related to the potential erasure of CRM? I'm glad you fucking asked. Also, before any of you ask, don't get me wrong, Eastern Airlines Flight 401 could be mentioned here as, I mean, as something that could happen, but this wasn't people were afraid to speak. It was that was no one actually communicated. Again, I mean, you could briefly mention it, like, who the fuck's in control? Who is in control being the name of the Crash Investigation episode about that incident. Anyway, about that accident. Anyway, 173 is potentially having landing gear issues. Obviously, it's the middle of the night, so it's not exactly great. So they suckle while they try and sort it out. Instead of landing, though, the captain becomes hyper-fixated on the landing gear issue, and again, because seniority and stuff like that, the first officer and the flight engineer basically were afraid to speak. And then United 173 runs out of fuel. Obviously, if you want to read more about it, you can look up these accidents. And yeah, runs out of fuel and crashes. What if the first officer had said something? Now, my worry is that due to the, I don't know, pandering to women and minorities thing, we might see these things kind of make a comeback, because things like this kind of erase cockpit resource management, which exists for a very good reason. The most deadly aviation accidents, some of the deadliest, including, yeah, the Tenerife collision, exist because there was no CRM back a day. And, well, this will eventually lead... Oh, wait. You finally decided to fucking work. Is there even any... Honestly, I'm trying to think. Most of it's just a bunch of case studies of various women and stuff. Well, it's a little late now. Kind of wish it had worked earlier, but anyway. So, and who is behind this idea? We got the people like the Vaush and the Zanderhall. You are essentially arguing for more plane crashes, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Anyway, I don't know whether this will be, I don't know, live, like, straight away as soon as it's uploaded. It's 11:22 here now, so the chances are this might be uploaded, I don't know, probably in about... I probably might set this to go live in about, I don't know, half a day or something. Yeah, probably around noon tomorrow. Anyway, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Obviously, I imagine these two might have opinions. Anyway, I can't believe that finally decided to work towards the end. Anyway, let's just end this here. Thank you all for watching. This has been Order Zarek, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.